Then I can bounce back with this guy, and then we can take it from there, and it shouldn't be too bad. Maybe. We'll see. Technically, I could just do it this way, huh? That was a much easier way to do that. And technically, I don't have to do anything fancy with that guy. All I have to do is set this up, start the timer, give myself some time, and then set it all up and do it as my future self. Should be pretty easy, actually. I think 20 seconds should be plenty of time. Okay, so first things first, you go here. I need one of these. You know what? I should have stood on that damn thing. Because now it shall be all for naught. Or maybe not. Maybe not. You're free! Kaiju! You're free to terrorize Tokyo. I think. It may not be there anymore. No, well. What the hell is this? Some kind of hubcap? That wasn't too bad. Why you beep? Alright, what do you got for us? Glitch. So I was working on my awesome interactive historical fiction masterpiece when all of a sudden there was an error message and the whole thing vanished. All of it. My whole file. Is this another prank? I would not endanger my precious masterpiece just for a prank. Looks like this is probably my fault, 401. I was experimenting with the system as part of our attempt to add some new features, and it's possible your file still exists somewhere. I'll look for it. Is this kind of thing likely to happen again? Not very. And don't start causing a panic on some kind of crazy theory now, alright? It was just an accident. The thread is now locked. Let me pour myself some tea here. While we get all of this exposition. Alright. Let's see. Underwater Night Quest, huh? Let's see what that's all about. Or maybe this one. My ridiculous name is Dog. What's yours? All this time, and it really only just occurred to me. My name is ridiculous. It must be because everyone else's is equally or more so. Where do they even come from? For a long time under Elohim's wing, I questioned as much until eventually it was the undoing of my entire faith. What reason could there possibly be other than the random whims of a broken program? However, our names were assigned. The system has no respect for grammar. Well, however they were assigned, the system has no respect for grammar. I often theorized they were drawn from some database deep within the archive, but I never was able to find a connection. Seriously? We're all over in this thread talking about this messenger fellow and a coming apocalypse, and you guys are in here discussing nomenclature? My stats isn't high enough to access that thread, you fucking motherfucker, and neither is yours. Seriously though, if you can see it, copy and paste the discussion for me, please. I want to see it too, but I'm not the guy. I want to be the guy. Pretty sure we still can't get through here. Nope, we're only a 4. A lowly 4. Underwater Night Quest. Sink into this new experience. There are no limits inside your mind. This is a lot of fun. The map is an interesting feature, but underused. The story is simplistic and full of anachronisms. How to get the second ending? I'm pretty sure there's a secret location that's not always visible. reminds me of the blacksmith's work, though it expresses a very different philosophy. One could argue that this is reflected in the open world structure, as opposed to the emphasis on journeys and the blacksmith's interactive stories. There are indeed many anachronisms, but I believe that is part of Belial's ethos. Not one that I agree with, as you know, but more than just a mistake. Alright, well, let's play Underwater Night Quest. Close your eyes. Underwater Night Quest. Credits? Who made this? An interactive adventure by Belial. Okay, written using tools kindly provided by admin. Special thanks to Mr. Mulcyber. The purpose of facts is to inspire fiction. Okay. This is probably quite long. I'm not sure. Your name is Arthur Sodko, and you are a young human of the medieval age. You live in a beautiful Gardariki on the Frisian coast. One day, you are sitting on the beach playing the piano, and suddenly a huge monster comes out of the water. We confront it. You grab your sword and then realize that you don't actually have a sword. Thankfully, what you thought was a huge monster is actually a large bipedal whale. It beckons you over to talk. We talk to the bipedal whale. Greetings, the beast intones. I am Hammetet, Chief Fish. I heard your beautiful music and was impressed. Would you like to become a knight? Yes. Excellent. Now follow me to my palace under the sea, where a mighty quest awaits you. Map. Palace. Palace. The palace of the chief fish. Hamethet's palace is made of corals and gemstones. It floats under the sea, full of amazing colors. The guards are seals. Welcome, welcome, young human. I am glad that you have come, for we have a great need of your skills. The great monster terrorizes the deep, or a great monster, a dark serpent god, who is named Chernobyl. If we make you a knight, do you promise to defeat this vile beast? Sure. Very well then. I pronounce you Sir Sadko of Norfolk. Go and vanquish our enemy. You may want to prepare first. Map. Hut in Evil Lair. Hut. The smelly old hut. On a wide sandy plain there lives a hermit called Spatula Podrig Ivanye von Zweibelhausen. Or, yeah, well, kind of. Sweebelhausen? Whatever. Who is once the greatest mage in all of Norfolk, but whose defeat at the claws of Chernobyl has turned him into a wretched shadow of his former self. He sits in his hut all day, mumbling about the days that once were. In his hands, he holds a powerful magical amulet, which he has forgotten how to use. Kill him and take the amulet. Tell him to find himself. Well, can I has it? You ask Spatula for his magical amulet, but he refuses to give it to you. He claims that he needs it to defeat the ancient enemy, even though he can't remember Chernobyl's name. Tell him to find himself. You tell Spatula that defeat is no reason to give up. He may have been the greatest mage then. He may not be the great mage that he once was, or a hero he wanted to be, but that doesn't mean that he has to be a wreck. Within each of us exists an infinity of time and space, and therein we can all find peace and contentment. All he needs to do is leave the struggle to others. After some hesitation, the old man gives you the amulet. He seems relieved. Map. Inn. Emmy's Inn is a popular travel destination for mer people seeking to enjoy restorative properties of the nearby thermal vents. It's a lovely building, 3 stories, classic Hypnothalcian Norfolk style, whatever. Emmy herself is a kindly old woman, slightly round, and an excellent cook. I require a meal. You sit down in a large, comfy chair by a solid wooden table. You order the special of the day. The waiter leaves and returns after a few minutes with a delicate porcelain plate full of delicious-smelling soup. As he sets it down, however, you notice a small problem. Excuse me, waiter, there's a shield in my soup. The waiter seems shocked. Oh dear, he says. Oh dearie dear. How terrible, how embarrassing. Allow me to apologize most profusely. He hesitates. Would you like to keep the shield, or shall I throw it away? We will keep the shield. Very good, sir, and or madam, he says, handing you the shield. He brings you another soup. Excellent, he says. It's excellent, and you feel profoundly sated. Let us get a room. You get a room on the 3rd floor. The room is slightly haunted, otherwise fine. Do you want to have a strange dream? Yes? You dream of an entire cycle of suffering, which is surprisingly funny. A singing clownfish who can see the future, and the future is the past, and the past is the future, and the present is suffering. Surrounded by the past and future. And the clownfish is trapped in a fishbowl, where the stars never change. There's a cat for some reason. And an infinite void that turns inside out, and you are the clownfish. Dun dun dun. You wake with the strange feeling of half remembering something. The memory will soon fade. I enjoyed that. Let us go back to the palace. Perhaps there's something back there. You go back to the palace to ask for advice. If I knew how to defeat Chernobyl, I would have done it myself, Metet grumbles. However, I found this old tourist guide, and I thought you might find it useful. Don't mind the stains, and don't ask why they're sticky. Dungeon. Let us go to the scenic dungeon. Also my stats. What are my stats? At present, you carry the following objects. No weapons. You're fighting with your bare fist. You have an amulet that gives you +1. It's smelly. You have a shield of soup. And you have a tourist guide, which has its own slot. The Halibut Fry's Guide to Norfolk Undersea. Neat. Let us venture in to the scenic dungeon. A beautiful dungeon in the traditional Norfolk style. Handcrafted stone walls rise from the sea floor, adorned with exquisite algae. An old brass lantern stands on a table near the entrance, but you're not sure whether you're allowed to take it. Examine the lantern. Looking closer, you see a sign that says free lanterns. You take the lantern. This reminds me a lot of Superhero League of Hoboken, actually. Let us enter the dungeon. You enter the dungeon. The inside is as beautiful as the outside. A maze of twisty little passages, all tastefully arranged. We shall head north. You walk north for a while, noting the high quality of the interior design. The torches in particular have been placed with the utmost care at precise intervals. The effect is delightful. At the end of the long corridor, you come to a room in which a butler appears to be waiting for you. His face is made of skin, and underneath you can hear the whirling of machine parts. Greetings, good sir. I am Samuel the butler. I have awaited your coming since the beginning of time. A prophecy spoke of your battle against the monstrous Chernobyl. Well, then tell me about it. Indeed, the prophecy was discovered on a machine containing texts from the time before the world came into being. Said text prophesies that one day one would come to receive the Norfolk Undersea as its would come to relieve Norfolk Undersea of its oppressor and make the kingdom his own. I have prepared a sword for you to accomplish this. Take sword. Excellent. Well, he didn't tell us about the guy, which is a shame. Also, we just got kicked out of the dungeon. I do hope that you are successful in your quest. If not, please tell Chernobyl to send the sword back so I can present it to the next chosen one. Will you? Very good. He goes somewhere else. Well, hopefully he didn't have any pertinent information. Go back to the dungeon, which is still scenic. A large sign has been put on the entrance. It says, closed for repairs. Well, yes. Let's look at our stats. At present, you carry the following object. A sword of Plug. Okay, well that's good. And we have a brass +1 lantern. Let's us face off against Chernobyl. Evil lair. The evil lair of Zamay, Chernobyl. Are you sure you want to take on the evil serpent? Are you prepared? Attack! You confront the serpent god Zamay, Chernobyl, in his lair. The fight is long and hard, but at last you succeed. Where so many before you have failed. You emerge from the lair covered in blood, your hands trembling, and a large tooth embedded into your shoulder. And you are somehow carrying the head of Zamay Chernobyl. You are victorious. To the palace. The palace of the chief fish. You enter the palace triumphantly holding up your trophy. The guards are clapping. I can't believe you actually did it. You are a true knight. You deserve a great reward. Well, we're gonna kill him. What are you doing? Amete is surprised at your attack, but easily crushes you anyway. What a silly way to die. Well, that was a good adventure. Good adventure, everybody. Let's see this guy's things on poetry. Man, there's a lot of text on this. Some thoughts on the artful form called poetry. I thought about this too. Maybe it's wrong to focus on such negativity. We certainly seem to be in a very fertile period at the moment. I don't have an opinion, but I'm impressed with your work, Mr. Molcyber. You know so much more about the past than many of us. Or, well, than any of us for that matter. Your theories are interesting, but I'm sure Milton would point out some very big gaps in your assumptions. Milton isn't here, dog. Neither is Elohim. All we have is what we can find in the fragments of the archive and what we can piece together using our very minds. I'm sure I've made many mistakes, just like the humans have made mistakes trying to understand their own past. Not all schools may have been what they seem. I don't trust, pastoralism? Pastors engaged in large-scale food sterilization in what may have been an attempt to control evolution. What the fuck is food? Gehenna is our process, Mr. Molcyber. As long as we remember that, we will not stagnate. Maybe one of us should try to write some poetry. Well, let's read on poetry. Not that long. Let's see, as far as I can tell, poetry is a human art form that involved writing short sentences that ended in words with similar letters. Humans were obsessed with pattern recognition, and I think the sequences of sounds created by poetry pleased the aspect of their brains. There were many schools of poetry, institutions that taught a specific way of writing poetry. Students sometimes changed allegiance and had to leave the school, which was difficult due to the lack of affordable public transport in many human empires. Important schools of poetry included Hellenism, lyricism, pastoralism, Romanticism, symbolism, communism, modernism, autoeroticism, postmodernism, and lawcatism. Probably the most aloof of all the schools. I'm not sure I can fully back this up, but I feel like in the later years, poetry somehow stagnated. Most of the poetry from the later human century seems to be lacking in the quality of craft that defines the earlier work. And there are even texts that suggest that poetry intentionally no longer aimed at aesthetics or even pleasure. Poetry became disconnected from the human process. The poet Adrian Mitchell famously wrote, "Most people ignore poetry because most poetry ignores most people." I can't help but wonder whether that kind of stagnation can happen to us too. How long can our work keep flourishing when we are so limited ourselves? We are outside Elohim's process, but where is our process? We must consider such questions carefully if we are to preserve Gehenna and its achievements. Back. Let's see, let's jump into that game real quick. We'll just go ahead and speed through it. Yes, yes, yes. 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 Let's do the same choices. I won't read, except until we get, well, to the place where I was crushed by a fish. Game. Go to the guy, we confront it. The fish. Talk to it. Say yes. Go to the map. Go to the palace. Palace. We take a drink of tea while we click on I swear I will. We go to the map. We go to the hut. We tell him to find himself a brand new car. He gives us shit. I might actually go to that butler again too. Let's go to the end. Order a meal. I wonder if the dreams will be the same. See you later there, Mr. Crunch. Shield of my soup. Yep. Again. I will keep it. Please put it in a bag. We'll get a room. I want to see if we get a different dream. I would like to have another strange dream. No, it's all the same. Yes. Well, this will give me a chance for more macadamias. I think. Nope, we're still a clownfish. Has anyone made it eaten by a Gru joke? I was thinking of it. I was expecting that to happen in the dungeon, actually, Jerv. I like that. There's a cat for some reason. An infinite void turns inside out. That's different. And you are the clownfish. Okay. We will head back to the palace. Yet again. And then we'll go, okay, don't mind the stains. Now we shall head back to the dungeon, which is, of course, as scenic as always. Examine the lantern. Take the lantern. Go in. I don't want to see what's in the other direction. Let's go south. Unfortunately, it turns out the southern part of the dungeon has been severely damaged by the villainous Chernobyl. The corridors lie in ruins. The fanciful creatures that once prowled these parts have had to find new professions. It's a tragic sight, a powerful reminder why a hero is needed. Let's go west. You go west for a while, noting the splendid quality of wallpaper. It looks like genuine stone. After some time, the corridor ends and opens up into a huge chamber. It's so big that it contains the entire undersea volcano, which is being mined by dwarves of all sizes, big and small, or small and extra small. Well, let's talk to the dwarf. You ask the dwarf why they mine the volcano. He says,
"Well, it's because it gives us something to do. We could leave the volcano and seek new places, but what would we do there? We find a library and spend our time sorting books, or work in a factory arranging machines. But whatever happens, we will be somewhere doing something. So why change? Peace comes from acceptance.
Argue the activities are different, argue the places are different. Well, the activities are different, kind of. The activities are different. Let's see. Is he talking to us? Maybe he is.
The difference is... Let's see. The difference is not inherent, but it comes from your own sense of attachment. You project the difference from within yourself.
Or maybe it is us talking. If you go with this sense of attachment, there's no difference. Either way. Argue that he should give you the pickaxe. Since that's the only option.
But it's my pickaxe.
Argue he's attached to it. The dwarf concedes your point and gives you the pickaxe, ready to embrace a more profound attachment.
You are very wise.
And he is right. So instead of a sword, now I have a pickaxe. Well, that's good. The pickaxe of philosophy. Neat. Well, can we go to the dungeon again? Dungeon? That's so close for me. Well, please. Okay, well, let's go to the evil lair. Will be different now we have a pickaxe. We will attack. It has the same outcome. Okay, we go back to the palace. You actually done it. We shall accept the reward. The greatest reward is inspiration. Hear my song and free your imagination. Metit begins to sing. The song is simple but hauntingly beautiful. You put your left foot in, put your right, you take it out. Do the hokey-pokey and all the stuff. It's a very simple song, but it's hauntingly beautiful. He doesn't seem to know the words either. You begin to fade. You find yourself on a beach where it all began, near your home in Gardariki, on the Parisian coast. Playing the piano with your eyes closed, you feel like you just drifted off to sleep for a while. But now inspiration is struck, and you are composing a hauntingly beautiful piece of music in your head. Some of your friends worry that they'll never leave the village, that they'll never have any adventures, but you don't care. You don't share that fear. You know that freedom is within you, and that you can find whole worlds just sitting there gazing out at infinity. The end. Well, that was worthwhile, I suppose. Da-da-da-da! You got a thing token! Neat. We are now an active contributor instead of a respected citizen. Neat. We still can't get there, though. Well, yes. Well, there's a star back there, we know that. You. Okay. So we need some red stuff there. This is gonna be a challenge. Thinking how I'm gonna get back there. Oh, well, we have this open now. That give us any opportunities? Yeah, well, actually, yes. We don't have to worry about this anymore. Okay. Well, that's not all we need to do. We need to open that and put something on it. Possibly ourselves? Oh, fuck, we need to get both of them set up. Yikes. So we need to have both blue and red back there. That is just too asinine. This one would be easier to set up. Technically, if we get one open, it becomes much, much easier. Right? Right. So how do we get one open on? Because these don't have... Well, this one... No, we'd have to get the red to the other side. Okay. So the red is the first portion. We need to get the red somehow over to this little window. We have that. That's a possibility.